In the heart of Lagos, where the skyline sparkled with towers of ambition and dreams, lived Ayotunde, a woman of great wealth and presence. She was the epitome of modern success, owner of a luxurious boutique in Lekki, estates in Banana Island, and the face behind a powerful NGO that had connections reaching the corridors of government. Her name alone commanded attention in any room. But Ayotunde was not born into wealth. Raised in a humble village in Osun State, she had clawed her way up with nothing but grit, intelligence, and an unrelenting hunger for more. To the public, she was a success story and a role model. But those who knew her intimately whispered of her coldness, her ability to sever ties without remorse, and her insatiable greed. Ayotunde had one daughter, Durojaye, a bright, warm-hearted young woman of 21. Durojaye was her mother's opposite in every way. Humble, compassionate, and deeply spiritual. She studied medicine at the University of Ibadan and dreamed of one day building a hospital in their ancestral village. Though Ayotunde gave Durojaye everything money could buy, designer clothes, luxury cars, and even a penthouse in Victoria Island, she had no patience for her daughter's dreams of service. In her mind, Durojaye should be learning to take over the empire she built, not chasing foolish fantasies of healing the poor. As Ayotunde sat one evening by the balcony of her mansion, sipping wine and gazing at the city lights, a strange restlessness stirred within her. Her wealth was vast, but something felt lacking. She wanted more. More influence, more control, more power, something beyond what politics and business could give her. It was then, as if drawn by fate, that she remembered the old tales her grandmother used to tell her. Stories of a powerful river goddess who granted prosperity in exchange for sacrifice. Ayotunde had laughed them off as folktales, but now they echoed in her mind like a forgotten melody. She picked up her phone, her fingers trembling slightly, and called her old nanny, who still lived in Osun. "I need you to tell me everything you know about the river goddess," she said, her voice low and urgent. Something had awakened in Ayotunde and it would change everything. The next morning, Ayotunde's phone rang. It was Mama Shewa, her childhood nanny. Her voice was rough with age but filled with urgency. "Ayo," she said, "that goddess you speak of is not just a tale. She is called Yemoja, mother of rivers, giver of wealth, but also a collector of the sacred. What do you seek from her?" Ayotunde hesitated. "I want more. More wealth, more power, eternal legacy." There was silence on the other end. Then Mama Shewa said, "She does not give without taking. Her price is steep and her judgment final. Are you sure?" "Tell me what I need to do," Ayotunde said firmly. That afternoon, Ayotunde chartered a private car and headed to her hometown of Ilobu in Osun State. It had been years since she set foot there. The village was quiet, framed by lush green forests and the gentle hum of the Osun River in the distance. Mama Shewa met her at the entrance of the house she grew up in. Time had bent her back, but her eyes were sharp. She led Ayotunde through a hidden path that wound behind the village, down to the banks of a wide, slowly moving river. "This is where the goddess speaks," Mama Shewa said. She handed Ayotunde a small calabash filled with water and cowries. "If your heart is truly greedy," she will answer. "But beware, you must give her something precious." Ayotunde stood by the river bank and knelt. She whispered words she hadn't spoken since childhood, reciting the incantation her grandmother had once taught her. The water began to ripple, though there was no wind. From the depths of the river, a strange glow emerged. Then a figure, tall, regal, with a translucent gown that shimmered like waves, rose slowly from the surface. Her eyes glowed like silver moons. "Ayotunde," the river goddess said, her voice a song and a command all at once. "You seek my favor. What will you give in return?" Ayotunde, breathless, stammered, "Anything. I want to be remembered forever. I want wealth that never ends." The goddess smiled, but it was cold. Then bring me the womb of your firstborn. Ayotunde froze. Your daughter's womb will be my vessel. Through her you shall gain eternal prosperity, but she will never bear life. Do this and your name will echo through generations. Refuse and you will remain just another woman forgotten by time. The goddess sank back into the water, leaving the river still again. Ayotunde stood up slowly, the words burning in her ears. Her heart began to beat fast. Could she do this? She turned to Mama Shewa, who had watched in silence. You must decide, the old woman said. But once the goddess speaks, she does not forget. Ayotunde looked back at the river. Something inside her shifted. She had her answer. The ride back to Lagos was long and silent. Ayotunde stared out of the window. The bustling roads and chaotic traffic passing by in a blur. Her mind was haunted by the goddess' words. Your daughter's womb. Each time she thought of Duro Jai's bright eyes and soft laughter, a pang of guilt jabbed her heart. But it was quickly swallowed by the familiar hunger, the need to be more, the rise above every woman who had ever doubted her, to build an empire that could never be toppled. For days, she paced her home like a lioness. Every time Duro Jai called from school, Ayotunde was short with her. Duro Jai sensed it even over the phone. Mommy, are you okay? You sound tired. I'm fine, Ayotunde replied sharply. Focus on your exams. Then one morning, Ayotunde made a decision. She called Duro Jai and invited her home for a weekend. She said it was for a family blessing, a spiritual cleansing that would bring Duro Jai's favor in her upcoming exams and in life. Duro Jai was skeptical. You never talked about blessings or rituals. Since when did you start believing in all this? I want us to reconnect, Ayotunde lied. You are my only child. This is important. The weekend arrived. Duro Jai came home, happy to see her mother but slightly unsettled by an unusual warmth. Ayotunde cooked her favorite meals, bought her a new iPhone and even promised to support her hospital project. After this weekend, things will change for us, Ayotunde said, kissing her forehead. On Sunday morning, they drove out of the city under the pretense of visiting a spiritual healer in Ibadan. Instead, Ayotunde led her daughter to the river in Ilobu. Duro Jai looked around. What is this place? An old family shrine, Ayotunde said smoothly. You just say a few words, pour libation, and we will go. Mama Shewa was waiting, cloaked in white. The sight made Duro Jai uneasy. Are we summoning something? It's a blessing, Ayotunde said, taking her hand. Just trust me. They approached the water. The sky was grey and the air felt heavy. Ayotunde gave Duro Jai a calabash and told her to kneel. Then she began chanting. Duro Jai looked up, alarmed. Mommy, what are you saying? Before she could stand, the wind picked up. The water churned and the river goddess rose once more. Duro Jai's eyes widened in terror. Ayotunde's hands trembled, but she kept chanting. The goddess floated closer. Is this your sacrifice? She asked. Ayotunde nodded, tears streaming down her face. Duro Jai turned to her mother in horror. What are you doing? Forgive me, Ayotunde whispered. It's for us, for our legacy. The goddess extended her hand. Light poured from her palm, enveloping Duro Jai. The girl screamed, not in pain but in confusion and betrayal. Her body went limp, and the glow faded. The goddess turned to Ayotunde. It is done. She vanished beneath the water. Duro Jai collapsed in the sand, unconscious. Ayotunde stood there, the wind still around her, the river now calm. She had made the unthinkable bargain. Duro Jai woke up 3 days later in her bed at the Victoria Island penthouse. She sat up slowly, her body aching. her mind clouded by strange dreams and whispers she couldn't remember. Ayotunde sat by the window, a book in her hand. You fainted at the river, she said quickly. You must have been exhausted. Brojai touched her belly. Something felt different. I had a strange dream, she murmured. A woman in the river. She touched me, mommy. Did something happen? You were hallucinating, Ayotunde said, walking over. She cupped her daughter's face. You are fine now. You would even be better soon. Brojai looked uncertain, but she trusted her mother. She nodded slowly. The days passed. Brojai returned to school, but her body began to betray her. Her menstrual cycle stopped. Doctors ran tests. Everything was normal except for one thing. Her womb showed signs of abnormal scarring, as if she had undergone a procedure she didn't remember. She confronted her mother. Mommy, did you take me to a hospital when I fainted? Did someone operate on me? Ayotunde acted shocked. What are you saying? Why would I ever allow such a thing? Maybe the herbalist used something strange. Don't worry, I'll get you the best gynecologist. But doubt festered in Dorojaye's heart. She started journaling her dreams. Always the same woman in the river. Her eyes glowing, whispering, find the truth. Meanwhile, Ayotunde's fortune multiplied. Her NGO received international recognition. Investors flooded her businesses. She was awarded a national honor. Magazines called her the matriarch of modern Nigeria. But her nights were sleepless. The goddess had kept her promise, but at the price Ayotunde couldn't forget. Each time she saw her daughter smile, guilt clawed at her soul. And then one night, Dorojaye's journal went missing. Ayotunde had taken it, and what she read chilled her to the bone. Her daughter was starting to remember. The night was hot, and still, when Ayotunde read Dorojaye's journal under the dim light of her study, each page was soaked in confusion and pain. The words were raw. I feel empty. Something was taken from me. She looked like a goddess, but I was afraid. Ayotunde closed the book slowly, her hands shaking. She had made a deal, and now the truth was inching toward the surface like a corpse that couldn't stay buried. At the university, Dorojaye was changing. She no longer laughed as freely. Her friends noticed. She had dreams she couldn't explain, often waking up with tears on her face. Her body had become a map of symptoms: sudden fevers, headaches, strange bleeding that doctors couldn't trace. She decided to confide in her close friend, Temi, a pre-med student with a deep love for African metaphysics. I think I've been cursed, Dorojaye whispered one night in their dorm room. Temi frowned. Tell me everything. When Dorojaye told her about the river, the goddess, and her missing memories, Temi paled. That sounds like Yemoja. My grandma told me about her. She's a powerful spirit, but she doesn't take lightly to being tricked. If something was offered to her, she will collect. Dorojaye's stomach turned. But I didn't offer anything. My mother said it was just a ritual. Temi's voice dropped. What if she lied? That night, the dreams returned, more vivid than ever. The goddess' face was no longer blurred. She looked directly at Dorojaye and said, You are mine now. In Lagos, Ayotunde began seeing things too. Shadows moved when no one was there. Her mirrors rippled like water. Her empire was growing, but her mind was fraying. She tried to return the journal to Dorojaye's room quietly, but Dorojaye caught her. You took it, Dorojaye said, her voice flat. You've been hiding something. Ayotunde opened her mouth, but nothing came out. Dorojaye stepped closer. What did you do to me? Ayotunde's silence was louder than a scream. The mirror in Dorojaye's dorm room had always been ordinary. Plain glass in a wooden frame hung above her small desk. But this particular night, it was different. It rippled, not like water exactly, but like something moving behind the surface. Durojaye froze. Heart hammering, she blinked, rubbed her eyes, and looked again. The mirror was still. She leaned in slowly, her own reflection stared back, but then, for the briefest second, her eyes turned silver. Not hers, but the goddess's. Cold, claiming. She stumbled back, breathing heavily. Temi rushed in alarmed. What is it? Durojaye pointed. The mirror. She was in it. She looked like me. Temi's brow furrowed. That's classic possession energy. If the goddess has marked you, she's starting to merge with you. That's why your dreams feel real. Your body, it's becoming a vessel. No, Durojaye whispered. I didn't agree to anything. Doesn't matter. Someone else did. Temi's voice was grim. You need answers from the source. The river. Durojaye hesitated, her hands trembling. Will you come with me? Temi nodded. Of course. Let's go this weekend. Ayotunde had stopped sleeping. Each night, she woke up to water dripping from her ceiling. Even though there were no leaks, her designer rugs were soaked. Her bathtub filled itself and the voice always the same. You took from me. Now I take from you. Burnt incense, called pastors and babalawos, but nothing stopped the hauntings. Still, she refused to believe the goddess would go back on her word. She had paid the price. But maybe the goddess hadn't come just for her daughter's womb. Maybe she'd come for her soul. That Friday, Ayotunde received a message she wasn't expecting. Mama, I'm going back to Ilobu this weekend. I need to see something. Don't try to stop me. Panic rose in her throat. If Durojaye went back to the river, everything could unravel. She picked up her phone and called her driver. We are going to Osun, she said. Now. The Osun River was quiet that morning, too quiet for a place once filled with the songs of birds and the laughter of children collecting water. Fog hugged the ground like a ghost waiting to rise. Durojaye and Temi stood at the bank, hearts pounding in unison. She is here, Temi whispered. I can feel it. She is waiting. Durojaye knelt at the water's edge and poured libation from a calabash Temi had prepared. Cowries, herbs, and palm oil floated on the surface. I seek truth, Durojaye said, her voice shaking. I seek justice. I did not agree to this. I did not consent. The water responded. It churned, bubbled, and then parted. The river goddess rose slowly, her face more human now. Less mystery, more menace. She looked at Durojaye with those moonlight eyes, calm and cruel. You bear my mark, she said. Take it back, Durojaye cried. I didn't offer myself. My mother did. The goddess tilted her head. Yes, it is your blood that called me. Your blood that carried the greed. You are not blameless. Durojaye faltered, but I didn't want this. Behind her, footsteps crunched. She turned, and there stood her mother. Her mother's expression was unreadable. Part regret, part defiance. Mommy, Durojaye said. You followed me? I came to this end, Ayotunde said. She stepped forward and looked at the goddess. You got what you asked for. Now leave my daughter alone. The goddess' lips curled. You think it ends with one way? You insulted my shrine. You offered deceit in the place of devotion. Temi hissed, stepping in front of Durojaye. You lied to a spirit. That's the highest form of sacrifice. Ayotunde's face hardened. What do you want then? The goddess' voice deepened. You. Ayotunde flinched. Take me, she said slowly. Take me instead. Let her go. The river hissed. Steam rose. Durojaye gasped. No, you can't. The goddess raised her hand. You offer yourself in truth this time? I do. There was silence. Then the goddess spoke. So be it. A great wind swept across the river. Water rose like walls on either side. The goddess' form expanded, then split. A part of her flowed toward Durojaye, a glowing mist, and gently lifted from her body. The mark was removed. Durojaye fell to her knees and Ayotunde, she began to walk into the river. "Don't!" Durojaye screamed. "Mommy, please!" Ayotunde turned one last time. Her eyes was no longer afraid. "I'm sorry," she said. "This is the only way I know to love you." The river swallowed her whole. The water stilled. The goddess was gone, and so was Ayotunde. Durojaye stared out of the window of Temi's car, her face pale. Her fingers coiled tightly on her lap. The wind whispered through the open window like a memory. Her mother was gone, not to prison, not to exile, but to the river, to a goddess, to a promise. Temi reached out and squeezed her hand. "She chose you." But Durojaye couldn't respond. Her mind replayed the final image. Ayotunde walking into the water, proud, regal, broken and brave. It didn't erase the betrayal, but it reframed the pain. Ayotunde had built an empire with blood, but in the end, she had tried to redeem it with sacrifice. Weeks later, the media exploded with stories about Ayotunde's sudden disappearance. Rumors swirled: a political assassination, a secret escape, a spiritual retreat. Her businesses scrambled for leadership. Her face was on every news outlet, but no one could explain her vanishing. Durojaye kept quiet. She withdrew from school, citing personal health reasons, and moved into her mother's Victoria Island penthouse. The silence of the home felt heavier now. Echoes of a woman, both cruel and kind, clung to every marble tile and golden fixture. One evening, she found a locked door in her mother's study. The key was in an envelope addressed to her, sealed with wax. Inside were letters, dozens of them, written over the past year. Some angry, others pleading, and one that shattered her. "My darling Duro, if you are reading this, it means I am no longer in your world. Perhaps I do not deserve your forgiveness. I hope you find peace in knowing that you were always the only thing I ever truly loved, even when I forgot how to show it. The goddess gave me everything, but I gave her you, and that is a debt I could not live with. May your future be free from my shadows. Ayotunde." Durojaye read the letter over and over, her tears soaking the pages. The rage inside her did not vanish, but it softened. No longer wildfire, but the slow aching burn. The river does not forget, but it can forgive. And in the space between grief and legacy, Durojaye found a power. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the story. Do well to like this video, share to your loved ones, and if you haven't subscribed to this channel, why not? Hit the subscribe button and expect more intriguing and exciting stories. Thank you. Bye.